What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to a Dangle, a bet, Celly, Chris Meaney, and Eric Young here with you for the next little bit, breaking down everything in the NHL here today. There are 7 games on the schedule. Eric, you just got back from Nashville, or from Vegas. You literally just walked in the door and you're ready to go here today. How are you? How was the trip?
Yeah, ready to go. Trip was great. Drove 400 miles on a motorcycle on Friday. Wrestled on a worldwide pay-per-view on Saturday, wrestled on a worldwide television show on Sunday and Monday, watched as much hockey as possible. I'm back. Got my buddy free tickets to go to the Vegas game because I couldn't go. He said it was the greatest NHL game experience of his life. Yeah, so it's cool, man. The season is starting to shape up. I know it's early, but there's a lot of surprises, a lot of weird stuff going on.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on, and I'll double down on that from your buddy there. Vegas is a phenomenal experience. I've been to about a dozen arenas across the league, and that one is up at the top, man. It's you got to check it out on the bucket list. You're right. There are a lot of weird things that have happened. Here we are. Most teams have played 5 to 7 games here. There's still a couple that have only played 4. October 26th here, and I know you guys didn't come to hang out for the standings. Before we get into that, actually, there's one question. There's one person that messaged here. We got Troy Noack says, how does he enter the contest to win the free NHL betting package? So we're going to give this one more go for people to get in. We'll announce the winner on Thursday. And I've seen all the responses. Appreciate it. It's awesome. It's great, Eric?
Cool.
People are just tagging us. They're subscribed to the show. They're giving us a review, the rating. We appreciate that so much. So send that over to us, whether you want to tag at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney, slide in the DMs, meanstreetsftn@gmail.com. I've taken every single name so far. I'll continue to take them, and I'll put them into a hat, and we'll draw. We'll give away a couple betting packages. You're going to get the NHL betting package. You're also going to get all the NFL picks. Still a few days in baseball, but the NBA is we're ready to go here. It's week 2 now in the NBA. All the sports happening. So you get all the picks from everybody over at FTN. You get access to the Discord channel, ask any questions, chat to anybody, and you also get some tools there as well. So a lot of cool NFL tools, PGA tools, MLB strikeout model. It's all there for you. And NHL is the promo code. Saves you 20% off, but also we're giving away those packages. So just show us that you've subscribed to the show, wherever it is, whatever platform you listen. If you're watching live on our YouTube page, subscribe to FTN, smash that like button, leave us a comment or a question, and we'll address it here on this show. If you're watching the replay, we'll get to it before puck drop. A lot to get to, a lot that I just rabbled off there. Eric, standings. Check this out. And I know people didn't come here for the standings. They can just check it out themselves, NHL.com. But Panthers are undefeated. We know that they're good. Panthers are undefeated.
We're heavy on
Buffalo,
that, so we're feeling good.
We're feeling good. 6-0. 4-1-1, the Buffalo Sabres, second in the Atlantic, just beat Tampa last night. The Canadians, whatever, they're a different team, but I know they've been brought up as one of the surprises. 1-5. We kind of felt like that may have been coming. The Leafs 2-4-1, struggling. The Lightning 2-3-1, struggling. Detroit third in the Atlantic, behind the Sabres at 3-2-1. In the Metro, Carolina rolling, kind of figured. Washington rolling, playing really good hockey. Rangers look strong. The Sabres without Sid and Malkin. Letang didn't play last game. Brian Rust didn't play last game. Jeff Carter didn't play, and they worked over the Leafs 7-1. They're 3-0-2. The Flyers at the bottom. The Islanders giving up more rubber than any team in the NHL. They're 3-2-1. Over in the West, we have Arizona struggling without a win. Kind of figured that. The Avs 2-3-0. Without McKinnon for a couple games, starting to come around here a little bit. The Blues are undefeated. The Oilers are undefeated. The Sharks second in the Pacific at 4-1-0. The Golden Knights at 1-4-0. Also giving up a ton of rubber. Man, we're 2 or 3 weeks in here, and there's probably been 5 or 6 major surprises.
A little bit, like when you're reading that list, you're like, okay, that makes a little sense. The Detroit thing, I'm pretty sure I said it on the first show that they're going to be very competitive. Anywhere where Steve Yzerman goes with his magic hockey wand, which I believe is an old wooden Titan stick, and waves it over the team, it just seems to fix everything. They got a lot of talented players. But the Islanders thing with the most rubber on net and goals, it makes no sense. Robin Lehner does not seem like the same guy, and Vegas Knights are not playing the same style of hockey that we're accustomed to them playing. the Montreal team being this bad, I did not expect that. I thought Dvorak was a great pickup to fill in for Deneau and actually had more offensive upside than Deneau. So I thought that they would at least increase their goal scoring this year some, and it's going completely the other way. So it's wild. And what's wild about it, the whole thing, is Dangle bet Celly. Like, I feel like we're not perfect because that's impossible. And if we were perfect, we wouldn't be on this. We'd be millionaires and we would live in a mansion together and have a hockey arena in our basement. But
I want that life.
I want that life. We're working towards it. And I feel like we've been pretty good. Like, I mean, I feel like the overall record and the overall suggestions have been pretty spot on so far.
Yeah, they have been good, and, it's not going to be about us, victory lapping and patting ourselves on the back. We're certainly going to hold ourselves accountable, call losses and see and adjust. This is what's going to happen. The NHL is crazy, honestly. On any given night, anything can certainly happen, but the bets have been good. They're in the bet tracker right now. So far, we're at 19 units, 21 and 12 on sides, up 12. The totals 6 and 3, and the props just okay, 55 and 47. 2.8 units there, so 19. So the bets have been good. We hope to continue here. But one more thing, just a shout out to Natural Stat Trick, which is a terrific site. If you're looking for an edge to, for betting, for gambling, from a fantasy standpoint, from a shot prop standpoint, you're playing DFS. We'll have a couple plays throughout this show. We'll get to today's slate, 7 games, as I mentioned. NaturalStatTrick.com is a terrific site. I like to take a look at 5-on-5 numbers, shot attempts allowed, high danger chances, scoring chances, just to see which teams are giving up the quality chances, which teams we can attack overs and unders with. By example, yeah, it is crazy to look at. So 5-on-5 per 60 minutes, the Islanders 66.4 shot attempts allowed per 60 at 5-5. Number 1 in the NHL. Number 1. Anaheim 2 and Vegas 3. The Oilers usually here. They're inside the top 5. If you look at just straight up shots on goal against, Edmonton number 1, Vegas number 2, Philly, Anaheim, and Columbus in there. The Islanders are right there at 6. Expected goals against. This is just a really solid metric. And 3.08, Vegas, number 1. Anaheim, number 2. Columbus in there. The Islanders inside the top 10. Scoring chances allowed at 5-5 per 60. The Leafs allowing the most in the NHL at 5-5. The Islanders, number 2. Vegas, number 3. And then high danger chances, basically shot attempts here inside the slot where most of the goals do occur in the NHL. Vegas, number 1. Toronto, number 2. The Islanders in there inside the top 10 as well. So, yeah, dude, it's still early. I think the Islanders figure it out. We'll get to Vegas here today, but, they're missing their 2 best players, and they're missing them arguably the best defensive forward in the NHL, Mark Stone. So they're really going through something currently right now. We thought Fleury leaving Vegas, going to Chicago, facing a lot of rubber there. It looks like he probably would have faced a lot of rubber in Vegas as well. Let's get to tonight. We've wasted enough time here. Rate, review, subscribe, send it our way. Let's start here with Calgary and New Jersey. The Flames 3-1-1. They played last night in New York against the Rangers. They won that game. Got screwed. Had the under 5.5. Flames scored with 5 seconds left off of face-off, an icing and a face-off, and I got the wrong end of that one. The Devils are 3-1. The total here is at 6. Eric, I gave Calgary out on Mean Streets today earlier. It's not one of my favorite bets at that moment. They were plus 110. Now I'm seeing plus 104. No Jack Hughes here today. Devils don't really have the goaltending right now. Mackenzie Blackwood is close. Reports from Elliot Friedman says that he is fully vaccinated. He could return soon. I think he's a great pickup and stash him right now because he's a pretty good goalie. I think Calgary can pull this off, but it's tough on a back-to-back. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think Calgary can pick it off. I watched a bit of a Calgary game this weekend, and a player that I think that probably is lowly owned, probably isn't very expensive on DK right now, and he just jumped off the screen to me, a guy that me and you have talked about for quite a while, and that's Mangiapane. He looks really good so far. Looks like he's stepping up into a more important and a bigger role, which they need. Like Gaudreau, Monahan is not the player that he used to be, and Kachuk can't carry the offense themselves, and it looks like Mangiapane is attempting to do that and having success at it so far. So for me tonight, I think I'd probably go the under. DraftKings has it as 6. I would go under there. But I like Calgary to beat New Jersey with no Jack Hughes, and just it's just kind of a bit of a mess at goaltending, and I don't trust New Jersey. I like this New Jersey team when they get Blackwood back. I think they're going to be really competitive. I love the addition of Dougie Hamilton. But yeah, tonight I think Calgary could go in there on the road and beat New Jersey. I really like that.
Yeah, I like the squad, man. I mean, Sutter's a good coach. He keeps things tight, and last year he just kind of jumped into that role, and they tried to do what they could to get into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they couldn't score a lot of goals. They're starting to score a little bit more, thanks to Andrew Mangiapane, who you just mentioned. I mean, 2 goals yesterday. He's got a goal in 4 of his 5 games, and even actually dating back to last season as well. This was a guy who was lighting it up. He scored 5 goals over a 4-game streak. So if you just count those 4 games last year where he scored 5 goals, and you count the first 5 here where he has 5 goals, it's 10 goals here in his last, 10 games or so. So he's like, it's not just, hey, he's kind of showing up out of nowhere. He's a guy who can score. And, he's on that second power play unit, which is nice. I do have a shot prop here, and it's Blake Coleman at plus 140. You get the fun revenge narrative when it comes to Blake Coleman, but this is a guy that you and I like as well, right? Especially in banger leagues. His ownership in Yahoo is 37%, man. He throws his body around. He shoots a lot.
Yeah, and it's obvious that they like him. They made him the assistant captain. I don't know if anyone saw that coming. He's a great player in all areas of the ice, can score, is physical, big body, good vision, good skater, good forechecker. The guy kind of does it all, and it's obvious that Calgary want him. They went after him. They got him, and he's a big part of what they got going there. Like you said, Daryl Sutter, look, he's not exciting. I think his interviews are hilarious, and the style of coach that he is isn't super exciting, but he just wins, man. He knows how to coach hockey, and looking at Calgary from the end of the year, like you said, the last 5 to 10 games of last season and the start that they're off to this season, feels like a completely different hockey team.
It does, yeah. Sutter is hilarious, man. They the call out that he had on Johnny Gaudreau. I mean, I forget exactly what it was, but he was it was almost a milestone night for him. And he basically said he didn't even really notice him out there on the ice. So Blake Coleman is the only book I see it. Those north of the border, Bet365. I think Tino's in Jersey can play Bet365 too. That's plus 140. And over at Caesars, William Hill is plus 142 for a guy that has at least 3 shots in every game so far with the Flames. And he put 8 pucks on net last night against the Rangers. He scored a goal. He's got 2 goals in 4 games. He's not on the power play. I like him to score again here tonight. You can get it at 3 plus 300 to hit the back of the net. I really like the revenge thing is fun. It really is. And I'm sure he's going to want to bring it here tonight against his former squad in New Jersey. But if you just go back and look at his years with the Devils, this is the kind of ice time he's getting now. He's not playing on a third line like he did in Tampa Bay. I do expect him at some point maybe to get on the power play in Calgary because he does have some offensive upside, but he does kill some penalties as well. And he really is the perfect Sutter player. Like if you were just to ask Sutter for a definition of a player, he would just give Coleman, throws his body around, back checks, hustle, everything. All those hockey cliches, he checks all those boxes. Blake Coleman. All right, so we can move on. We both like Calgary there. I would lean to the under as well. Mangiapane is an interesting guy in DFS, and then Blake Coleman. Blake Coleman's a little bit cheaper over on DraftKings. Mangiapane's 5.7, Blake Coleman's 4.4, but you get that power play time with Mangiapane, so you have a little bit of a higher ceiling there, I suppose, with him. Okay. Let's move on here. Let's go to game number 2 here on the ice here this evening. Oh, man, lots of notes in front of me. All right, Tampa and Pittsburgh. This is go ahead, man. Take it away. The Bolts and the Penguins, right? Opposite.
Yeah.
One team's they're both kind of surprising right now.
The complete opposite of what you thought was going to happen. You're looking at Pittsburgh, no Malkin, no Crosby, no Gensel to start the season. Russ gets hurt in the first or second game. It's bizarro. Jeff Carter looks possessed. Now he's hurt. They manhandled the Maple Leafs the other night. And then Tampa, Kucherov looks like he's on IR now. Who knows if they're going to do the stash all the way to the playoffs again. They look like a completely different team. It's crazy. This is the bizarro matchup of the week because if you were to say that this was the game, even before the season started, I would have said the complete opposite of what I'm going to say right now. And I'm not going against Pittsburgh until they prove me wrong. I would say Pittsburgh wins this, and I would probably take the over here.
Yeah, wild stuff. I mean, Brian Russ is still on IR. Crosby's close, man. Like, there's nothing official. I'm still even checking here. He's not going to play tonight. He's really close. He was practicing with the squad yesterday, and taking line rushes and stuff. So he seems pretty close. Get ready. And when he appears on DraftKings, he may just be super underpriced. I mean, I don't know if they'll jump up. I mean, he's 5'7" right now in DK. But Jeff Carter is out. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really go. I do think Tampa kind of wins. I think they win this game, but it's not going to be on my card. It's not one of my favorite bets. It's a different squad. We talked about missing that entire third line, and now Kucherov is not there. Corey Perry's playing in a top six role. Like, they got this guy to play in the fourth line, right, and chip in here on the power play, not to play in a top six role here and there. But I do think, Tampa will. I think they'll squeak this one out, but I just got to stay away from it. I shout out to our guy, Matt Best. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with us, dude. Would you look at these two excellent fellas? We miss you, Best. You're crushing it over at the Mayo Media Network. Yeah, we miss you quite a bit. We hope to have you on the show if you're willing to jump on as a guest sometime. Matty Best is a great hockey mind, a great sports mind, does a lot of great stuff over at the Mayo Media Network, and is winning bets left, right, and center. Is a good follow on the social media platforms. Okay, so I had nothing really to add. I'm probably not in from... You like goals, then? You think over here? So you maybe attacking this from a... Do we go back to our boy Heinen? Heinen's 3.6 on DK. He's been... he's got a point in every single game but one.
Yeah, I like Heinen here. I think Zucker is another interesting person, maybe shot props as well. I think he's going to get some increased ice time with Rust and all those guys being out. Good speed, shoots the puck quite often. So, yeah, I don't know. The Tampa is a strange thing. Maybe they get going, but I would go over, and I'm going Pittsburgh to win this one.
All right. It's crazy that their top line is Evan Rodriguez, Kasperi Kotkaniemi, and Jake Gensel in Pittsburgh, but yet they continue to get it done. Oh, man, hockey is great. All right, Vegas and Colorado. Okay, so another team, right? Vegas, we talked about off the top, just the amount of rubber that they're giving up more than really any other team. They're inside the top five in shot attempts, shots, high danger chances, scoring chances allowed, and then you have an Avs team that's starting to find their footing a little bit, right? They went out east and they played some tough teams. They lost to Florida. They beat the Bolts in a shootout. Now they return home and play a depleted Vegas squad here. Colorado's going to be the chalk of the night. There's no question. They're going to be chalky in DFS. Yep. People are going to want to play them. They have the highest team implied total here tonight at 3.5. They are one of the biggest favorites on the board here tonight at, what do we got? Minus 175 best possible odds that you can find over at BetMGM, but in a lot of spots, minus 188, minus 185. Vegas plus 160 if you want to back them over at DraftKings. And the total is 6. What do you think, man? You think Vegas can hang with Colorado tonight, or is Avs just crush them?
Yeah, I think the Avs crush them, and because of that, I just don't know where the goals are going to come from Vegas. Obviously, we said on the start of the show, Vegas is giving up a ton of chances, and a team that you definitely don't want to give a ton of chances to is the Colorado Avalanche. They've got Makar, Gerard, McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog. They've got all these guys that are excellent players. Kadri, the list goes on and on. So yeah, I don't think that I would do over 6. It just seems too high for me. But I just Colorado's going to walk them here. I'm pretty sure that until Vegas proves me otherwise, I'm not betting on them to win anything. They're a mess.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado wins as well. I think it's tough to lay the juice on the minus 180, but they probably will be in one of my parlays here tonight. I think that they have their way. I mean, Vegas is struggling, man, to find their footing. I mean, just with one line, you lose Stone, you lose Pacioretty, that's a significant blow. But I do like some shot props in here, and it's actually on the other side. So I like Shea Theodore and I like Jonathan Marchessault. So I probably leaned Theodore over Marchessault, even though that he is a defenseman, just because of the ice time that he's been getting. And I think because without Stone and Pacioretty, they just have to, these guys like Theodore and Pietrangelo, they have to drive offense. They have to get involved in the play. They have to pinch. They have to skate up with the puck. And Theodore is one of the better defensemen at moving the puck up the ice. And on the other side, Makar he's right there with them. But Shea Theodore, the last few games without Stone and Pacioretty, 25 minutes, 27-23. He's cleared 2.5 shots in each of those 3 games. I had one game with 5 in there. Marchessault's been a good hit as well. I have both in the tracker, but I like Theodore slightly more. You can get him at minus 130. And I'm sure, I mean, Nathan McKinnon, I'm going to be making parlays. A couple questions that people have had about in the shot props. Do you put them all in one as 4-1? I do like the 4-1. 2 is kind of how I roll. I pick 2 and I just go. And Theodore and Marchessault, I'm kind of pairing them up with the Winnipeg boys, and we'll get to them in a little bit. Those are the 2. But, if you're making other parlays with 4, I think you could get involved with McKinnon. From a DFS standpoint, like I said, these guys are going to be pretty chalky here. McKinnon is 8-1. Rantanen is 8. I think that line has a really solid night. Landeskog is always the guy that is just completely underpriced. He's never priced with those 2. I don't get it. Like his ceiling is almost just as high, really, as the other 2. And Landeskog's averaging more fantasy points. He's 6'8", so you save yourself a little bit of cash. JT Compher is a little bit too expensive for my liking, Eric, but he does have 2 games with at least 2 points. He is playing on that number 1 power play, but he's $5K. Like, he's really up there in terms of pricing. He was more expensive than Sam Bennett a week ago, which kind of made me shake my head a bit. But he's in play. I don't know. I know you love Makar. There's really, like, Bowen Byram is a guy that maybe you can save a little bit of cash. He's got points in 3 of his 5 games this season, 4 points overall. He's 3-2 on DraftKings, so you can save a bit of cash. You can get different by maybe going to the second line. I don't know how many people play Andre Burakovsky. He's actually one of the most dropped players in fantasy because he's gone 3 games without a point. He'll be one of the most added, I'm sure, when we talk in a week. Anything else to add from this game? Do you like Marchessault and Theodore? Do you like McKinnon as shot prop guys?
Yeah, I love the Theodore Marchessault. Like they're gonna be behind and they're gonna have to be shooting the puck. Both those guys do it. He's a player, man. We loved him a year ago, and I've got him on almost every one of my fantasy teams. So yeah, I love that. I love that prop.
All right, let's move on here to the next game on the board. We got your Preds in action at home against the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks have been one of those surprise teams. I joked with the tweet the other day that did you pick up Dolan anywhere? I mean, he looks pretty good alongside Meyer and Couture. I mean, it's one of the best lines in the league right now.
Yeah, I did. And, I mean, this is what hockey is, especially season long. Like, you have to be paying attention to who's hot when. And he's hot right now. He's playing with really good players on a top line. He's playing power play time. He's shooting the puck. He has offensive upside. Like, that's all anyone talked about when he was coming into the league. So, yeah, I mean, like, until he's cools down, I'll put him in my lineup and I'll start him. And that's, like you said, you always have to have those 3 or 4 players, 5 players on your bench that are kind of at any given time, you can drop him and pick another guy up that's hot. That's how you win. That's how you stay aggressive.
Yeah, those 3 were mentioned in the FTN Fantasy article, which comes out on Sundays, just taking a look at the waiver wire and taking a look at 4-game streams. I was surprised to see Logan Couture owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues, even before the run. Now he's up to 72%. Meyer's up to 76%. Dolan's up to 9%. I mean, Couture and Meyer have 8 points each. They have 3 goals each. Meyer's been shooting the puck a ton. He's got 23 shots. And then Dolan's got 3 goals and 4 points and only 13 shots. But you're right. They correlate well in fantasy as well, because not only do they play 5-on-5 together, they play on the first power play unit, which you alluded to. And you know what? The Sharks are playing pretty good hockey, man. They went in through the East. They beat, the Canadiens pretty easily. They hung with the Leafs and ended up beating them. Ottawa's a scrappy team that's usually in a lot of games. Look at last night. Like, even down 4-0, they were able to come back against Washington and tie that game up. Shout out Drake Batherson with the Hattie. And then they played pretty tight against Boston, so they continue this lengthy road trip. I don't think we'll see a lot of goals, though. I'm surprised. Like, high team implied total for Nashville, the second highest on the board here today. I know James Ryan.
I don't get that.
I lean to the under.
I've watched every one of their games. I don't understand. I mean, this is not a team that scores goals. I mean, they just don't.
You like the under 6 then?
I definitely the under 6. I would never go over in this game.
Yeah. Do you like anything else do you like any Nashville guys? Because these guys, I don't, despite the high team implied totals, I mean, it's high on Nashville, low on San Jose. Yeah. There's a lot of cheap players in this, in this game from a DFS standpoint. There's a lot of, not underpriced, but there's a lot of value here on the board. But again, I don't know where the offense comes from.
I don't have the prices in front of me, but I don't imagine that it's high. But Johansson and Duchesne, there's something going on there. Duchesne This is the best he's looked since wearing a Preds uniform. They have him on the wing, less defensive responsibilities. He's always been pretty nifty with the puck, but he looks like he has something to prove. And, if you're asking a Nashville fan, it's about time. You've been making $8 million and playing your guitar and just kind of having a good time. It's time to step it up, and it looks like he's doing that this year, man. He looks like a completely different player than last year.
Well, this is like it, right? I mean, I'm sure there's some motivation factor from him. And yeah, I agree. He's pretty cheap. You want to know the pricing. I mean, Johansson's 5.4, Duchesne is 4.1. So they do play together on that top line.
And top power play, for sure.
You know what? I haven't watched. I mean, you've watched more Preds, and Matty Best is in here. He covers the Preds too. I don't know if he's still doing the Locked On Predator. We had some fun with that name with Cam Stewart last year. But I'm looking at the game log here from Duchesne. Wow, he is shooting the puck. It's kind of like his numbers and his ice time looks a lot like the Ottawa days. And he was a terrific fantasy asset when he was with the Sens, certainly back with the Avs. 4 shots, 3 shots, 3 shots, 2, 4, 3. 3 points in his last game, playing 19 minutes, at least 18 in every single game. Interesting. Okay. 4-1.
Something to really look at, especially in DFS.
Yeah, you're right, especially in DFS. We did get one thing here from Hyper Bork. Says loves the shot props, decent juice on them as well, meaning Marchessault and Theodore. Yeah, I think they're both at like minus 130. Maddie's chiming in here. He says he loves Vegas. Vegas loves offense from their blue line now. Love their D shot props way more this year. And then he did say that he is in with you on Pittsburgh and Tampa on the over. And he's talking Grimaldi. It would be swell if Hines played Tomasino with, and he didn't scratch him for Rocco Grimaldi. He started his own Preds podcast. Left Locked On Preds. Good stuff.
Young player. I mean, still hasn't proven anything in the NHL, and that's just what happens. I think Tomasino will be fine. But yeah, if he's going to want to get better, he's going to have to show something and play more.
Do I have to get involved here with a Matt Duchesne shot prop? What are we at here? Yes. 1.5 at minus 225. I ain't gonna go there.
Yes.
Up plus 120 for 2.5. 3 shots tonight from Duchesne.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think Timo Meyer's in play too. I'd go back to Timo Meyer.
Oh, for sure, man.
He almost did it.
He's always shot the puck, and this is the player that we thought we were going to get 2 years ago.
He loves to shoot it. Shot attempts, except when he's on a breakaway with an empty net against the Leafs. He didn't like to shoot that one. He just held on to that. We needed that for a third, man. I was like, what are you doing, bud? Shoot that puck. Okay, let's continue to roll here. I think I'm starting to talk myself into this game, but I still like the under 6 with San Jose and Nashville. Maybe I'm alone on that one. All right, Minnesota against Vancouver, minus 120 for the Wild. Maybe this seems too good to be true. They did get spanked the other night, but they do have 4 wins. Kirill to throw Kaprizov into his shot prop in 4 of the 5 games. I like him at 2.5. I got to go back to him. I don't believe he's scored yet either, so I don't know. Like, he's one of those guys that probably is like, I can't go too many games here without a goal, so I'm going to have to shoot the puck a little bit more, potentially. Yeah, he's got 5 assists. I mean, he does have 3 shots, though, at least 3 in 4 of his 5. What do you think of this game here tonight?
I don't know what to think, man. Minnesota, is obviously a team that I like. Bunch of players on the team I like. Joel Eriksson Ek is turning into a really good player, and I think it just all has to do with playing with better players and playing in a top spot, which gives a player confidence. The Vancouver Canucks are weird. Like I know I've expected them to kind of take a step forward. I was hoping that the goaltending would be vastly improved. I was hoping that Hughes was going to, kind of put on some size and become a better 200-foot player. And my big hope for the Vancouver Canucks and all Vancouver Canuck fans was Elias Pettersson turns into the player that we know he can be. And that still hasn't happened. He's slight, but he's an absolute magician. And we're just not seeing a ton of output out of him yet. I think it's going to come, but it's worrisome for Vancouver, man.
Yeah, it is. I think it'll come too. They have, Connor Garland. It was a guy that we liked as well on this show when we did some previews as a target. Yeah, I mean, you've always talked about Connor Garland. I feel like every time.
He had a Garland Kachina jersey that only lasted for that was only relevant for about 3 months.
He's off to a hell of a start. He's got a point in every single game. He's got points in 6 straight. He's got 3 goals and he's got 5 assists. He's not shooting as much as he did in Arizona. He was one of those guys that I would always consider as a shot prop guy. He does have 10 shots here. I think Minnesota wins. I got to take Minnesota minus 120. This is Vancouver's first home game. They started their first 6 games on the road. There's a saying, and you know this as well, and I don't really have any data to back this up, guys, but that first home game after a long road trip, sometimes, teams get caught up, playing at home in front of the fans. It's like a bit of a different atmosphere. I'm sure that they're going to be fired up with the home opener here tonight, but I am going to lean with Minnesota coming off a loss. I think Minnesota's the better team. I don't know who's going to start in goal for the Wild. I don't really think it matters. They got 2 strong goalies. I think it could be Talbot here, but Thatcher Demko's he's locked in. So I'm just gonna go with Meaney here at minus 120. From a DFS standpoint, I don't think I'm really interested. You mentioned Eriksson Ek. He's 6'1" now. He really has to score. We love Eriksson Ek, but he's just. It's a high price to pay for him, and really he's only had one strong game, was the game he had the hat trick. But we are big Eriksson Ek fans here. Garland's gotten up to the price where he's 6'1". You mentioned Hughes. I think he's a value on DK though. He's 5'4", and then when he wasn't playing, it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson who was playing at 5'3". He was eating up a lot of ice time. Brock Besser's 5'2". There is some value to be had with these Canucks players, but I'm into Meaney. We'll move on. 2 more games before we get out of here. We got Seattle and we'll wait for that one. We got Winnipeg and Anaheim. So I was looking at the schedule and just surprised that Winnipeg this is their 3rd matchup here with the Ducks. They're on another West Coast swing where they just went out west and started the season in Anaheim, and they played San Jose, and now they got to go out west again and play Anaheim and play San Jose, and I believe they got a game against the Kings. They're depleted right now. No Mark Scheifele again, no Blake Wheeler. So these guys are out due to COVID. What do you think, man? What do you think of this game?
It's a tough one. I'll say that the Ducks have surprised me a few times already this year. And the reality is that we've talked about this 1,000 times. Hockey is chaos. People changing on the fly, whatever, this flat puck sliding around on the ice. And the reality is if you've got John Gibson, you could win most any game. And he looks pretty sharp so far this year. I like a bunch of the Winnipeg players. Kyle Connor is a guy that I was all over early drafts this year. I wanted him on all of my fantasy teams, and because of how he was playing at the end of last year, and he's continued that right into this year. The guy is absolutely magic with the puck, skates, shoots. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. But this is tough to call. I mean. 5-5. I don't. Neither of these teams really score all that much. I would definitely go under, and I got this weird feeling that Anaheim's going to win at home.
Yeah, it'll be the second time they beat them. Matt is killing me, Meaney. You have to save the Habs for last. I'm going in the order, dude. I'm going in the order of where they appear on DK and on the prop, and then on the parlay calculator, the free parlay calculator. We're at FTNBets.com. Shout out there. You get the best possible odds, shot prop standpoint. I'm kind of with you. I did give Winnipeg. I'm actually not with you. Sorry. I did give Winnipeg on the show this morning. I think they win, but I gave it on the show when it was like minus 135 or something like that. It's minus 127 now. I think if you want to get in on the Jets, you wait till puck drop. I think the money's starting to come in on Anaheim. I get it though. Like the Ducks have been impressive. They've hung around. The Jets are without 2 really strong players here. But the play of the night is with our guys, Connor and Ehlers. Like, that's it, man. Like, these guys are 2.5 on shot props. They're juiced up to the over just a little bit, but not as high as what I thought. I got a bet tracker here. I put it in this morning at 9 o'clock. Nikolai Ehlers minus 145 at DraftKings, 2.5 shots. I can check quickly here on the fly, but I would imagine. And then Kyle Connor's at minus 149 at 2.5 shots. But Ehlers, these are my 2 favorite guys always. I'm just going to go back and forth between the 2 and kind of pair them up with Theodore and Marchessault. Like those are the 2 for the 2 shot prop parlays. I think he can get involved with these guys in 4-leg shot prop parlays. Minus 149 over at Caesars for Nikolai Ehlers and minus 155 for DraftKings. Eric, just listen to this. So Ehlers has 11 shots in his last 2 games. He's got 14 in the 2 games against the Ducks this season. And for Kyle Connor, he's got 11 shots in his he has 11 shots, in his 2 games against the Ducks, and at least 4 shots in 4 of his 5 games. It just makes sense to go back to them. with the two studs in Scheifele and Wheeler, being sidelined and all the ice time that you're going to get. And plus, like we said up the top, as much as the Ducks are winning games, John Gibson's stolen them a couple, but they're among the leaders in shot attempts, shots, high danger chances, scoring chances, everything. And Winnipeg crushed them the other night. They put a lot of rubber towards the Anaheim goal. So we don't have confirmation of who's going to start net. Gibson always scares me. He's probably going to go. But Connor Hellebuck has looked a little bit better lately as well. All right. Anything else to add before we wrap up with this final game?
No, that's it.
Okay. Habs and Seattle here tonight. Kraken. I just said on Twitter earlier, I don't know if you caught the tweet, I said that I wondered if Seattle would raise the Stanley Cup banner for beating Montreal, Seattle Metropolitan at the time in 1917. They beat the Canadiens. They beat Montreal. They won a Stanley Cup. And it was just kind of tongue-in-cheek. Like, should they do it? Yeah, they should. It would be awesome if they did. They probably don't do it. But somebody just straight up called me out on Twitter and said, oh, yeah, typical person from Toronto just spewing BS about Montreal. It's like, dude, I'm not from Toronto. I lived there for a bit, and you don't know me at all. I follow this Canadian team pretty closely. I don't spew any BS when it comes to them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little biased, but I tell it how it is. We've been picking out the Habs all year. We don't expect them to be a playoff team. We don't think that this team is all that good. By the way, Seattle and Montreal played in 1919, and that series ended because of a pandemic. So that there was no cup awarded that year, but both teams are struggling to find offense. 1.82 goals for per 60 at 5-5 Seattle. That's the 8th worst mark in the league. Montreal 1.49 goals per 60 at 5-5. It's the 4th lowest mark in the NHL. The Habs just scored 6, but they scored them against Detroit. Where are you at in this game? It's pretty much a pick 'em. The Habs are dogs.
Yeah, I'm going under, and I saw some of the highlights from Seattle's first home game, and it warms a man's heart that a fan base can be that passionate about a team that is not very good, is certainly not exciting, but they were fired up, man, and I think Seattle will be competitive because of their approach with the analytics and just kind of having a bunch of really reliable players. And the reality is Montreal is the opposite of what Pittsburgh, for me, is. Until they prove that they can win a game, I'm not betting on them. So I'm not going to pick a winner here. I think Seattle wins. If you want to use that in a parlay or somewhere, I just don't like the odds there enough, but I'm going under.
Yeah, I think under is the play. I think the Canadiens win here today, and I'll be honest, it's not because I follow this team, and it's actually probably why I think that they're going to win. I saw a little something in their last game. I think they're a team that we're going to pick on a lot this year, Eric. There's no question about that. I don't view them as a playoff team. They have a lot of holes on their blue line right now. I don't see a lot of offense, but I see an opportunity maybe to jump on them here at plus 112 to win this game, and maybe just maybe a little bit of confidence from the last game. They did fill the net. They juggled their lines quite a bit, and it all seemed to work. I don't love it, though, from a DFS standpoint here, because I just don't think there'll be a lot of goals, but I am willing to jump on them. There's a couple names that I will throw out as maybe potential values. Now, it does feel like kind of chasing Matthew Perreault at 3-2 because he had the hat trick and 6 shots, but he is playing with Tyler Toffoli and Cole Caulfield, and he is getting some power play time as well, so that is an interesting maybe punt play, a cheap play at 3-2. I don't think you need to go all fully in on a stack, but that's the line that I do like. And then what I noticed from Mike Hoffman is that guy's just a straight up puck hog. He doesn't want to pass to anyone. There was like 2-on-0s and 2-on-1s where he could have just dished it over and he would have gotten an assist, but he clearly didn't care about that. He's 4-6. He put 4 pucks on net. He had 8 shot attempts in the game against the Wings. He's on that first power play unit. That first goal that he scored was on the power play. And on the other side, there's some value here with Seattle as well. Yanni Gourde at 4-1. He's only played 2 games. He only has 1 point, but man, he's getting ice time. And this is kind of what I thought would be the case when he was with Seattle. There were moments last year when he was with the Bolts in the Stanley Cup Finals where he was the leader in ice time. He was taking all the key faceoffs on the power play, killing penalties. 22 minutes in each of his first 2 games with the Kraken. Just for a guy, Eric, that you can get at 4K, 4-1, for a guy that's going to play 20 plus minutes, I think it's worth the price.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing on the first line, playing on the top power play line, which I think is probably problematic for Seattle. offensively. Yanni Gord is I love him. I absolutely love him. I loved him when he was in Tampa. He is a hustler. He is physical. His name rules. I mean, there's just not a reason to not like this guy, and he loves to play. You can see it when he's out there. But for that price, I love him in DFS. I've got him in a bunch of bangers leagues because he's always going to bring you value of some sort. But I think, having him and Jaden Schwartz as a stack, and I think it's a pretty affordable one and could be good tonight because the Canadians are giving up some goals.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I do lean to the under. It's not my favorite bet. We just talked about that. But as bad as these two teams are at scoring goals, they're also pretty bad at keeping them out of their net. So who knows, man?
Yeah.
We could see some offense tonight, and it is there's a lot of value because as we wrap up here, Colorado will be chalky tonight, but I think they're really hard to ignore given what we talked about with Vegas missing two strong forwards and giving up a lot of rubber. And then, there's other spots that you can go. We talked about some value with Calgary and, Mangiapane and Blake Coleman are guys that we like. Some underrated sneaky value maybe between the Sharks and Nashville in larger fields in tournaments. If you're playing single entry or only 3 entries, I probably would avoid it. But you gave some really good points on Matt Duchene, and he has been putting some pucks on the net. We do like that top line in San Jose. And surprisingly, Vegas has given these guys some credit here, giving them like a 6 game total, but I still lean to the under. And then, the Winnipeg boys, those top guys are expensive. They're going to put a lot of pucks on net, maybe get involved from a shot prop standpoint. But Montreal and Seattle could be sneaky from a value standpoint as well. Let's round out the show here. What do you got? You keeping track over there of some picks that you like? You've already made a few wagers.
Yeah, let me pull up my my slips here real quick. I've got Pittsburgh to win. I've got the under there. I've got, let me see, Anaheim to win. So we're going on opposite ends there. I think John Gibson plays. I think they win at home. I got Calgary to win at home. And what is this? The under 5-5. Oh, the under 5-5 Seattle and
Montreal. Nice.
Those are my lock-ins for tonight.
If you're Seattle, raise that cup banner. Raise it. Who cares? You want a cup? You want one in 1917? Let her rip. You're playing the Habs here tonight. Kind of rub it in. Raise it. Raise that banner.
Do it for the hometown boys.
It looks like a fantastic arena. Got to check it out. Yeah. Seattle's a sports town, man. I mean, the boys last night, the Canadians, they were at the game. Maybe I shouldn't pick them. I saw pictures of Matthew Perreault with like Bud Lights in his. He was double fisting. They were all watching the Seahawks game last night in the cold. They probably caught a cold. Maybe they come out sluggish here tonight. This is what I'm thinking here for my picks. I'm with you on Calgary. It's not my favorite pick. I probably shouldn't have let it, but I do like the Flames here tonight at plus money. I like Winnipeg. My favorite pick on the board is Minnesota. I like Minnesota here tonight. Winnipeg, Montreal, Calgary, and the under between San Jose and Nashville at 6. That's really kind of it. Colorado is a great play tonight. I don't have them here because they're like minus 180, but you want to put them into a parlay. Yeah. Maybe you can get involved if you want puck line, but I still think it'll be a competitive game, even with Vegas missing some guys. From a shot prop standpoint, I like those Winnipeg guys, even at minus 150, minus 149, whatever books you're looking at. Connor at 2.5, Ehlers at 2.5. I like Shea Theodore at 2.5. Oh, you got it here. This is from Mean Streets here today. So Ehlers, you could actually get at 2.5. Theodore and Kaprizov kind of gave my reasons why I like these guys earlier. And then Blake Coleman is a guy that I don't know, man. I'm just really feeling like he's plus 140. So I think, he's interesting. Other guys, Duchene you brought up. I like Timo Meier and Duchene from that game if you're looking for more shot props. Jonathan Marchessault if you're not feeling Shea Theodore. And then I think Stamkos, too, is another guy who's, was on Braden Point last night, didn't get it, but Stamkos has been a guy who's been shooting the puck a little bit more without Kucherov. So I think he's interesting as well. But just want to kind of narrow that down into, those few that we like. Matty, yeah, that's Matt's got a good one here for us. Here's a long shot on the way out. A long shot game, a shot prop parlay here. Coleman, Stamkos, Theodore, Duchene, Kaprizov, Connor, parlay pays plus 4,000. It doesn't seem like outlandish though. Like it doesn't. You hit one of those 4 games. if you put 0.25 units on a 4-game, say you put $25 on a 4-game shot prop parlay. We saw a couple in the Discord channel this week. It's like a $350 payout if you add a couple guys with plus money in there on a Coleman. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put a full unit on something like that. You could slap $1 on it. You could slap $5 on it. Maddie, I may have to slap 25 on that one, sir. You have been killing it as well. Eric, any final words here before we get out of here? We got to get this show live on iTunes for the Spotify
it's cool.
and iTunes listeners.
Trying to respond to everybody that has been talking about the show. We're building this cool community. We've been building this group of people for a couple years, me and you, and it's just awesome to see that kind of wherever we end up, they follow us, and that's awesome. It's cool having the discussions, because the reality is a lot of these people are smart people, are hockey people, and they say things that make me think and change my minds on things. It makes me a sharper player, makes me a better, makes me more an intrigued fan watching other things that I didn't even think about. So it's such a cool thing. It's growing like crazy. Tell your friends, everybody's welcome. This is the place to be for fantasy, for DFS, for hockey betting. We want to make this a destination.
Absolutely. Well said. I couldn't have said it much better. A lot of people here that have been commenting in the chat, I'm familiar with them, and they're super sharp minds. A lot of people in the FTN Discord channel are super sharp as well. I learn a thing or two from them every single day. So we want this show to be about you guys. We want you to be involved. We will be giving away some betting packages if you aren't our... My goodness. If you aren't subscribed over at ftnbets.com, promo code NHL. Please rate, review, subscribe if you can. It would do us a big solid. You have a question, you're watching the replay, leave it there. I'll circle back before puck drop. I will have a value DFS article live at ftndaily.com as well. Russ Prentice has his amazing cheat sheets as well. Thanks, guys, for the support, for hanging out with us. Thomas McBride, Hyper Bork, Maddie Best, everybody out there, we appreciate you so much. Send that screenshot over. Get you in that draw. We'll be giving away some betting packages on Thursday. Good luck on the ice tonight. From Eric Young, myself, Chris Meaney, Tino running the show for us. Have a fantastic night. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Cheers.